Hey, John Hardison here with you from Studio 113 and Epic Academy at East Hall High School in Gainesville, Georgia. Let's take a look today at an interactive learning structure called the Literary Revolver or the Poetry Revolver. Now I want to start first with the way we should always start, which is our standards and what we want our students to learn. So I would address all of my students and tell them to go to my American Lit teacher page and to see all of the links I have waiting for them here. And of course I could also put that in our new learning management system, Canvas. But I would ask the students to go here and to look at column A, and column A, as you can see, has all kinds of prompts, upper level prompts, standards based prompts that are very challenging. For example, look at A5. Cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly, as well as inferences drawn from the text, including determining where the text leaves matters uncertain. So again, standards-based upper-level questions for A column. The mason jars I will explain in just a moment. Mason jar B, or the B column, has to do with battling. For example, B1 says, first, pick another team who does not have a current assignment from the containers. Secondly, both teams should pick their own thematic song that would accompany this particular poem. Your chosen song can be an actual song or made up. However, you should have a title and the names of the artists. Be prepared to validate your reasoning in a showdown with the team you chose. And then C would say read at least one verse or maybe a stanza or a paragraph in the style of country, rap, soap opera. And then C4 and C5 get into some Whose Line Is It Anyway skits, and they also bring in the teacher. Now I know a lot of this may not be making a whole lot of sense, but these are the standards. These are some of the challenging prompts and assignments that I would want my students to go through. And then of course for the C column, I would want them to have a little bit of fun, and that would be promoting some of the things I know to be true from brain-based research. Now we would be looking at several poems. This is what we actually did here recently. We looked at Huswifery by Edward Taylor and To My Dear and Loving Husband by Anne Bradstreet, both Puritan poems. And we also looked at a poem called Gate C22. So let's return to our standards here, and now let's look at our structure. I first wanted to show you a bird's eye view of my classroom, just to show you that we have a stage in the middle, and of course we have all of these tables around the rectangular stage. We would move the tables to the perimeter so that we could establish a classroom like this, where all students in teams of 2 get right up on the stage, and we would start with team 1 here, one person in the front, one in the back to conserve space, and go all the way around to a possible 17 teams, which would be a max of 34 students in the classroom. Now, oftentimes with some of our other 30 to 40 structures, we may have the front channel do something specifically and the back channel do something specifically. They may rotate within their teams, or they may rotate around the stage. However, the magic for the Literary Revolver does not come in the rotations. It comes in the form of 3 mason jars. So if you remember our prompts, our column A, our column B, and our column C, as you can see, the colors coincide with the standards all the way through A, B, and C. So, for example, what we may do is, let's say that we have A starting out at 2, and we have B starting out at 7, and C starting out at 12. What we could easily do is we could say, hey, we're going to start here just for the first round, and we need to pick some way of selecting a number. There are many online spinners. You can use dice in your classroom. You can roll up numbers and simply draw them from an old gum container that you've kept. But I want to show you how I sometimes do it from my smartphone. I go to Gadgets and Dice, and here we go. I just flick the phone. There we go. We got a 6. So let's pretend we got that 6. And if you'll bear with me, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It lands on team 8. From here, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It lands on team 13. And from here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what would happen now is Team 8 would pull a prompt from A. Now please pay attention here. Let's pretend that Team 8 pulls A5 out of the mason jar A. And this is the one about textual evidence and inferences, and of course using your evidence to show the explicit things that are said as well as the inferred things that are said. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that all students are involved in something and that they're all engaged. Now, you're going to see that teams will be involved in A, B, and C prompts. However, you can see a lot of these students around in here do not have anything to do, and so what we'll have them do is we'll have them also answer the very same prompt that comes from the mason jar A. Now what we could do is use a back channel, and I want to show you how to quickly do that. Go to todaysmeet.com, and I'm just going to do test class, and how about our room number 113. As you can see, it's green, it's okay. Let's just do this for 1 hour. Bam! Just created a room, and I'm going to add my name, and I'm going to join, and from here I could set up a back channel and give instructions. So by asking the students to go to this link, I could have all the students who have not had a mason jar land in front of their teams to go ahead and start answering A5 from the mason jar A. Now, I will say that I would give the teams about 5 minutes to turn and talk with their partners, and at that time I would instruct them all to go to the back channel to todaysmeet.com, and I would ask Team 8 to be prepared to go to the center of the stage and to deliver their answer. Now let's look at B. B landed on 13 right here, so for B what I would do is ask that team to draw a letter and a number. And let's say that this particular team draws B1, which I believe I read. So please remember that first they will pick another team who does not have a current assignment, and then they will be creating an actual song or a made-up song and discussing how it relates to the literature or poetry at hand. Let's pretend that this team chooses Team 3. And so Team 3 is now drawn into the picture. So Team 13 calls out Team 3. These two teams will do battle. Therefore, if you look, Team 8 has the A jar and A5 prompt. Team 13 and Team 3 has a challenge from the B jar, and Team 1 has the C jar. Everyone else should be focused on the A5 prompt from the mason jar. Now, Team C, let's say Team C draws, let's say they draw C5. What is C5? C5 have an ABC conversation about this particular poem with Mr. Hardison. So we would do something from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Have a 1.5 to 2 minute conversation about the poem at hand or the literature at hand, and we would start from a particular letter in the alphabet and have to go through all the way in order and have a conversation that makes sense. A lot of fun, kind of challenging, but again, a lot of fun. So let's go back to our structure, and let's just say that after about 5 to 7 minutes, everybody has focused on their own prompt, whatever their assignment is. And after about 5 to 7 minutes, let's say Team 8 comes forward to the center of the stage. They will give their answer, and then at that time I could direct the class to Today's Meet back channel and discuss some very worthy comments, or I could clarify some misperceptions. So after that is done, I can move on, and then Team 8 would be done. B prompt has been taken care of. Now at this time I want to make sure I explain that Team 13 will go to the center of the stage. Team 3 would go out in the hallway where they cannot hear Team 13 give their answer. So Team 13 gives its answer and fulfills the assignment. They go back and sit down. Team 3 comes to the center of the stage, and then they give their answer. At that time, after Team 3 sits down, then we're going to have all the remaining students in the class vote on who won and who lost. Whoever lost, we do a quick thing with the teacher. We have a little bit of fun, do a quick little skit, something acting. Sometimes we even do something that we've done for many, many years called the T-Rex. And again, it's about a 30-second brain break, and we move on and we have some fun with it. And then finally, our B prompt is done. And now we simply go to the C prompt, and let's just pretend again that it was the C5 like we talked about. So for about a minute and a half, the teacher and some students get up on stage, Team 1 preferably, and they have a conversation using the ABC format. And then that is round 1. Round 1 lasts about maybe 10 minutes, say 12 minutes. It's an absolute blast. The students are all engaged. They all have an assignment. They're all held accountable. And then after that round, all you got to do is throw out your dice or select a number and then simply reset with all of these prompts. All right, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at John Hardison 1. All right, see you guys.